was fully ended. So yesterday I have requested all the participants to firstly install the XAMPP. So I hope everyone has installed the XAMPP. If anyone want to install it side by side, they can follow my steps, right? Whatever I am doing, they can do it parallelly, right? So firstly, you have to install the XAMPP. If you have not installed, just search for XAMPP. This is the official website of XAMPP to download. Apache Friend. This is the official website. Let me write in the chat box if you want to do it parallelly, side by side. So once you download this XAMPP, it will when you will visit this website. This is the version you have to select, XAMPP for Windows. Then you will get a download. When you click on this link, it will be downloaded into your system, and then you have to firstly install the XAMPP, like this one. You will get a executable file. This executable file you will get. You have to just double click on it and you have to install it. It will be installed. It will be very easy to install. You will get a installation wizard, and there you have to click on just next, and it will be installed, right? So this is the warning message. Please ignore it. Click on OK button. Then you have to click next, and it will be installed in your system. It is very easy to install. Once this XAMPP will be installed, I am awaiting this process because I have already installed this XAMPP. Once this XAMPP will be installed, what you have to do, you have to download DVWA. DVWA, I hope everyone has downloaded. This is official website of DVWA. This is official website. Here you have to click on download button. A zip file will be downloaded automatically, right? Like this one. This DVWA zip file will be get downloaded into your system. Now what you have to do, either you can copy this file directly or you can extract it. So how to extract it? Right click on it and extract to DVWA master. It will be extracted in the normal folder. Now you have to open this. You will find the entire code of the website. So the parent folder you have to download. This is the parent folder. Now you can rename it. Just you have to rename it DVWA. You have to rename it and it will becomes simple DVWA. So let me know once you will do. You will complete by this step. Let me know in the chat box. Then you have to firstly open the XAMPP control panel. Once you will install this XAMPP, you will get this control panel icon in your desktop. You have to just open this control panel, XAMPP control panel. Otherwise, you can search in this Windows search XAMPP. You have to start the services of XAMPP, of Apache and MySQL, right? This should be running. You can see this should be running. This should be appearing in the green panel, green background. If it is coming in the green background and the port, it will be showing, then only it is running. Otherwise, it may, if it is not running, if it is getting any problem, it will be written in red color here, not in blue color, that Apache is not running. If you are getting this type of message, then you have to resolve that problem. So only 11 participants has joined yet. Okay, no issue. I hope more participants will join as soon as possible. So let me know in the chat box if anyone is doing with me, if you have done this till this step. Yes, participant. Yes, anyone has done this till this step? Done. Very good. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. So now once you will rename it. Once you will rename this folder dbwa. Now you have to copy it. After copying it, just go to your my computer C drive where you have installed this XAMPP. In C drive, you will get a folder called XAMPP. There you will find another folder. Inside this XAMPP folder, you will find a folder called htdocs. Inside this folder, you have to copy this dbwa, right? So because I am already having this folder, let me delete it first, right? So let me delete this dbwa first. Okay. So what you have to do, you have to copy this dbwa and you have to paste this file in this htdocs. I am pasting it. So what we have done till now, we have downloaded dbwa folder. We have extracted it and we have renamed it as simple dbwa. And after renaming, we have put this folder dbwa folder inside root directory. What is my root directory? This htdocs. This htdocs is a root directory of XAMPP server, right? So I have pasted this dbwa here. Now go to your web browser. Now you have to check. You have to check whether you have copied or whether your server is responding or not. So you have to write localhost. When you click on just simple write localhost and you hit enter button, this is if this screen is appearing, it means your Apache is running perfectly. Your Apache is running successfully. If this screen is coming, now what you have to do? You have to write here localhost dbwa. So this message should be coming. So please let me know if you are getting this message. Yes, participant. Let me know if this message is coming. Yes. Just let me know once it will be done from. Yeah, if you are getting this message, it means you are in right direction. Now what you have to do? You have to go to this dbwa folder. Inside this dbwa folder, you will find another folder called config. Inside this config, you will find this file, configuration file. Now what you have to do? You have to rename this file. Just right click on it and rename it. After, yes, after clicking on rename, you will have to delete it. This .dist, this string you have to delete. .dist, this string, this .dist string you have to delete. When you delete this .dist extension and put and click yes button, this file will be changed as PHP file. Earlier it was distributable file. Distributable file is having the extension dist, right? So you have to rename this distributable file as a script file. To do that, you have to rename this file, right? After renaming it, now again you have to revisit this localhost dbwa and you have to refresh it. Once you will refresh this, you will get this page you will get. So please check whether this page is coming or not. Yes, Halika ji, please let me know if you are getting this page, setup page, if you are getting this setup page. So Piyush sir, I think participant are not aware of what happened. So please drop an email to all the participants to reconnect to this meeting. What I suggest, Piyush sir.
Okay, sir.
In this case, what you can do, you have to just drop an email to all the participants that due to some problem, the meeting was ended. You have to reconnect immediately for the session, right?
Okay, sir. Okay. Hello.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay, please mute yourself, sir. Okay, thank you. So if this page is coming, then you are in right direction. Now you can see on this page, there are a few things which are coming in the red color. There are few things which are coming in the red color. You have to enable these features, right? So to enable these two features, you have to open this configuration file, right? So you can see there are three things which are coming in red color. One is this function is disabled, allow URL include, allow URL f open, and captcha is missing. So these three things are coming in red color. So you have to enable this one by one. It is also giving a hint that how to enable this function. So what you have to do, you have to just open this XAMPP control panel. Just open your XAMPP control panel. After opening this XAMPP control panel, what you have to do, you have to go to this config button. When you click on config button, you will get an option to Apache SSL, Apache HTTPD, php.ini. So what you have to do, you have to open this php.ini file. How to open this? Just open the control panel, Apache XAMPP control panel. In XAMPP control panel, you have to click on config button. In config button, you have to click on php.ini. When you click on php.ini, on this file will be open, a notepad file will be open. Now you have to search for the function called this allow URL include. You have to just copy this function name here. I am just copying it, and I'm going to search it. I'm going to search for this keyword. When I will search for this keyword, I will get this line. You can see here. You can see here. These two functions are by default off in my php.ini. So what I have to do, I have to put it on. I have to put it on, and then we have to save it. I will save it, and after saving it, I will restart the Apache. When I will restart the Apache and refresh my page, so now you can see these two functions are enabled in green color. So please do it and let me know once it will be when it is done. Yeah, please do it. Do the step what I have demonstrated right now, and let me know once it is done.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, done.
Sir, can you once again show what to do after opening the config file?
After opening this config file, you have to search for this allow URL include. This function. This function you can copy this name, allow URL include. You have to copy this keyword and you have to search it in this notepad. Right. Control F. You can use the key to open this search window.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, it is done. Have you put it this function on? After putting this function on, you have to save this file, restart the Apache, and then you have to refresh this page. Once you will refresh this page, you will get these two functions enabled. Please let me know once it is done. Yes, ma'am. Have you done this? Yes, ma'am. Have you done it?
Done, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you. So let us move ahead. So after doing this, these two functions on, now you have to look for this reCAPTCHA, right? reCAPTCHA. So you can see here the reCAPTCHA is missing. So can anybody tell me what is this reCAPTCHA? What is this CAPTCHA? Just simple. Let me know what is CAPTCHA and why we use it, right? Anyone?
CAPTCHA is random letters or numbers which are used to determine if a human is using it.
Okay, so which purpose we are using, ma'am? For which purpose we are using it?
To verify if it's the human using it or it's an automatic machine.
Sorry, ma'am, you are not audible.
To check
What you are
if it
saying?
is human or not.
To check whether it is human
Human
or
or
not.
not.
Okay, you are very right, ma'am. CAPTCHA is only used to stop the robotic operation, like hackers. What hackers used to do, they write as of a script, and which script will keep submitting any website or any form continuously, right? And as a result of that the website becomes irresponsive due to huge number of requests, right? So to stop this type of thing, what we can do, we can use this CAPTCHA. We can use this CAPTCHA to enable this CAPTCHA in this DVWA, though it is not very much related, very much needed in DVWA, right? But it is a need of configuration, so we have to do that. We have to enable this CAPTCHA. So to enable this CAPTCHA, what you have to do, you have to just open the link which I have shared yesterday. Let me open this link again. This is the link to get the reCAPTCHA. Let me post it into the chat box. This is the link where you can. Is it coming? In chat box, I have posted it. So please open this. After opening this link, you have to just open this link, and after opening this link, you have to create your reCAPTCHA. In label, you can write anything. DVWA, you can write here DVWA. Then you have to select version 2. You have to select version 2. Once you select version 2, I am not a robot. You have to write here domain. In domain, you can write localhost. Localhost you have to write, and then you have to accept the term and condition. Once you accept the term and condition, you have to submit this form. When you submit this form, two keys will be generated. A pair of key will be generated. These are the two keys which will be required to configure CAPTCHA in your system. So to inform the DVWA about these two keys, what we have to do, we have to go to DVWA config folder. In config folder, you have to open this configuration file. Just open this configuration file in the DVWA. Just go to the XAMPP htdocs. Inside this htdocs DVWA, inside the DVWA, you will find a config button. Sorry, config file, config folder. Config folder, you will get this config.inc file. You have to open this file. When you open this file, on line number 27 and 28, you can see it is asking for reCAPTCHA public key and private key, right? reCAPTCHA public key and private key. So what you can do, you have to copy this public key. This is the site key, nothing but your public key. You have to copy this public key and you have to paste it here in this single quote. Similarly, you have to copy the secret key. You have to paste it inside this private key and you have to save this file. After copying both these keys, you have to save this file and you have to refresh this page, this setup page. When I will refresh this page, you can see this CAPTCHA is now in green color. CAPTCHA key is showing here. It is showing the CAPTCHA keys in green color. It means the problem we have resolved. So please let me know once it is done from your end. Yes, Halika ma'am. Okay, so PHP module GD missing. I think this is coming in your system now. So let me rectify this problem also. Open this php .ini file once again. Open this file once again. And here you have to search for this GD PHP module GD. Okay, just give me 1 second. Yes, ma'am. Just give me 1 minute. I will be showing you PHP GD module GD. Yeah, open this php.ini file and search for a keyword called extension. Extension is equal to file info. This text you have to search. Yes, Halika ma'am, please search for this text in your php.ini file. I have written in the chat box. Please search for this text in your php.ini file. You are knowing how to open this php.ini. Just go to your XAMPP control panel. There you will find config button. There you will find php.ini. When you open this file, please search for this extension is equal to file info. Below this line, you have to write this one. Extension is equal to GD. This one you have to write, right? You have to write extension is equal to GD. This line you have to write below this line. Below this extension is equal to file info, you have to add extension is equal to GD. Once it will be done, you can restart your Apache and you can check whether this error is resolved or not. Please let me know once it is done. Yes, ma'am. Have you completed this? I hope it will solve your problem. You have to just add this line extension is equal to GD. Firstly, you have to search for extension is equal to file info. Then you have to search for extension is equal to GD. Let me know once it is done, ma'am, so that I can move ahead. Once it is done, you can refresh this page and this error should be converted into a green color. After doing that, now you have to click on create reset database. When you click on create reset database, this message may be coming in your system, could not connect to the database services. This message may be coming in your system, could not connect to the database services, right? If you are getting this message, please let me know. Yes. So Piyush sir, no more participants have joined, right? I think.
Sir, it's 41. Hello.
41.
Yes.
But I am only able to see attendees is equal to 11.
Actually, now attendees are 40, 40, 41, 40.
Okay, that is fine, sir. That so why people are not responding? I don't know why people. Yesterday they were properly responding, but right now they are not able to respond, I think. So is there any permission problem from organizer end?
No, sir, no. There is
They
no
can
problem.
respond to my queries, na, sir.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay. So participant, please keep responding. If you are doing this with me parallelly, the DBWS setup. So if you have done till this step, we can move ahead. Yes, PMS Halika ma'am, have you done this? Gagandeep ji, okay. So I hope everyone is doing this installation of DBWA because it is very, very essential. Once you will complete this step, now you have to connect to the databases because this script, this setup page is having instruction written in this page which will create a database automatically for this DBWA. For that, you have to click on this create reset database button and if it is giving could not connect to the database this message, you have to do something, some changes in your configuration file. So again we are going to this dbwa configuration folder. There you will find this line number 20 and 21, where the database name is written dbwa, database username is written dbwa, and password is written p@SSO0rd. So what you have to do, you have to delete this username and password both. Inside this single quote, you have to write the username as root, and in password you have to write password nothing. You do not have to write anything. Password should be blank, left blank, right? So username you have to keep root, and password you have to keep nothing, blank, right? After making these changes, you have to save it. After saving this file, you have to again refresh this page. When you refresh this page, again you have to click on create reset database. When I will click create reset database, you can see the database has been successfully created, a user has been created. So now it will automatically redirect me to the login page, and here we have successfully completed the installation of dbwa. So dear participant, if you have done, please let me know if you have done till this step. We have just made some changes in the database username and password. Database username should be root and password should be blank. And after that, you have to refresh this page and create reset database. You have to click on. After clicking on this, the login page should appear. If login page is appearing, it means you have successfully installed this dbwa into your system. So the default username for dbwa is admin and password is password. So let me write in the chat box. The username is admin, password is password in a small space, right? So this is the login ID and password for dbwa. Once you log in into dbwa, this interface will open. It means you have successfully completed the installation of dbwa, right? The first thing you have to do is you have to set the dbwa security level to low. You will find the different security level written in this drop down: low, medium, high, impossible. Basically, it is creating the challenges for the learners. If you are a beginners, you have to select low one. If you are a expert, you can select high or impossible, right? So because we are learning, we are in beginners phase, so you have to select this low. So it will create the challenges on low level. Otherwise, if you become expert, you can crack all the challenges with the impossible or high level mode also. So please set this security level to low. After setting this security level low, now you are ready to rock. Now you can perform many exploitation on vulnerabilities. You can perform many attacks like brute force command injection, CSRF, file inclusion, file upload, SQL injection, XSS, right? All these attacks you can perform and learn. So now I'm going back to my previous slide, which I was explaining yesterday. So we have covered this stored XSS, and we have seen that this stored XSS is very dangerous. If someone will write a dangerous script in your database, in your file, then it will be very problematic. So yesterday I have uploaded a very dangerous script in this feedback section. So this website was asking for a feedback, and the hacker came across this page, and this hacker has uploaded a very dangerous script here. And as a result of that, what was happening, when the administrator has tried to log into this account, he will automatically be redirected to this scary page, horror page, and he was not able to see all these feedbacks, right? Because he has been automatically redirected to this page, right? So the solution, the present in present scenario, what is the single solution we are having? Firstly, we have to delete this feedback from this database. Which database? The database which will be storing all this comment or feedback, right? So this database was this one, feedback. You can see this script was stored in the database, so I am going to delete it, so that now administrator will be able to see the feedback.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sorry for interrupt. Actually, sir, I am not visual your screen. Can you share it?
I am already sharing my screen, sir.
Oh, sorry, sir. It may be my internet. Sorry, sir.
So can anyone confirm me whether they are able to see my screen or not? Anyone from organizing team?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Thank you, sir. So Mr. Gagandeep is also telling that my screen is not visible. So what should I do? Mr. Bilas is also asking to share my screen. So let me share it again. I am stopping it and again I am sharing. So I hope it is visible to all of you right now. I have just shared once again. Okay, Gagandeep ji. So so I was explaining the various vulnerabilities. So we have completed this stored accesses. Before that, I have demonstrated this installation of DBWA framework. Now the next vulnerability, which is generally found in the web applications, are sensitive data exposure. As its name is suggesting, sensitive, if your sensitive data is exposed to the hacker in over the internet, then it is very dangerous for your website, right? So this sensitive data may be the server informations. Yes, server information, that which version of server you are using, which version of XAMPP, or which version of PHP, which version of MySQL you are using. So these all information are related to your server. So they are very crucial. If hackers will came to know that you are using this particular version of a software, they may be knowing some exploit in that version, right? So the version information is very sensitive information. Then apart from that, username, password of your users, website users, their personal informations. So all these informations are being stored in the databases. If you are maintaining all the records of your employee, your teacher, your faculties, right? So these all records are being stored in the databases, in the website databases, right? And if this database backup file is exposed to the internet, then you will be in trouble, right? Then you will be in trouble, because your website administrator, it is very good practice to take the backup of your database periodically, right? So your database administrator, your website administrator may be taking the backup of your website on a regular basis, periodically, right? That is a good thing, that is a good work he is doing, good practice he is doing. But along with this good practice, the website administrator may be doing a very dangerous mistake. What mistake he may be doing? He may be putting this backup file on the same server. the server which is on which the website is hosted, if he is putting, and you cannot believe 60 to 70% cases, in 60 to 70% cases, what website administrator does, they used to keep this backup file on their same web server where the website is running, and it is very, very dangerous, right? If they are putting this backup file on the same server, this data may be exposed to the hacker, and hackers are knowing to a very good technique called Google dorking. What this Google dorking is, basically what will be happening when you will be putting your backup file on your server. It is nature of your search engine Google search engine to crawl through your web server and extract the information about different pages. Suppose you have just hosted your website today you have hosted, and people may not be knowing your website address, so they will not be able to visit your website. What they will do, they will search your website name, your organization name on Google, right? So if Google will be knowing about your website address, it will suggest the users to click on the particular link, right? So how Google will came to know that this is the web address of a website? So that will be done by the Google crawler, like this one. Let me show you. Suppose I am writing here in Google, I am writing here graphic era. I am not knowing the address of Graphic Era University's website. This is the web address www.geu.ac.in. But I am not knowing. So what I will do, I will just search on Google Graphic Era, and Google will give me all the appropriate link here, right? So how Google came to know that there is a website having the address geu.ac.in? It is only possible due to Google crawler. Google crawler is crawling through the World Wide Web for each and every website, right? Whether it is newly created or it is old website, it is continuously crawling and getting all the name of the pages, right? Suppose your website is having 5 pages: about us, contact us, about my services, about the director, faculty, student. These are some pages, right? So what Google will do? Google will go to the server and it will check for all the public files. These all files are public. All the web pages which are available on the web server will be public to the Google crawler. Google crawler will make an index entry in their databases for each and every pages available in the web server. Suppose your website is having 5 pages: about us.html, contact us.html, course.html, faculty.html, student.html. Suppose these are some 5 to 6 files which are there in your web server. So all these files name will be recorded by Google, and you cannot stop it. You cannot stop Google to do this, right? Because it is a web policy, web crawler policy. They will reach to your server. They will identify all the public pages available in the web server, and they will make an index entry in their databases. Why they are making this index entry? Because next time when any user will search for Graphic Era courses and fees, so it will directly suggest the appropriate pages of that website to the student. When I will click, it will appropriately suggest the student to click on the particular page, or directly it will give the page link, right? So this is the reason why Google crawler is doing these things, right? You cannot stop it. So while crawling this information on web server, what Google crawler will do, it will also make an index entry for your database backup file. So if you have kept your database backup file on your web server, you have done this mistake, and what Google has done, it has made an index entry for your backup files, and hackers are knowing this. They are very smart, so they will exclusively they will search for this backup file over the internet, and this backup file may be containing your server information, your faculty profile, your faculty username, password, their personal information, their, if you are maintaining their financial information like credit card or debit card, they will get this all the detail from the backup files, right? So how this is working, let me show you. So I'm going to demonstrate using one command, very basic command. So I will open Google here. Inside this Google, I will be searching for this string. So this is a customized string which is being used by the hackers in Google dorking technique. It is one of the command. It is telling Google that Mr. Google, please search for all the website having the domain ac.in. Which type of website is having domain ac.in? Academic website. So we are all are the academician, and academic website is having the domain ac.in, right? So it will ask the Google to search for all the academic website, and it will also ask to search for a file type SQL, right? SQL files type it will search for. When it will search, hacker will search, it will suggest some link, right? So let me open this link one by one, and let us check if it is available or not, and what information it will be showing us. So I'm opening few files. There is a long list of website. So let me check whether any link has opened or not. So you can see here. So this backup files has been opened, and it is a backup file. It is having huge data. It is having huge data, and it is also, along with the data, it is also giving very sensitive information like version of the software they are using. They are using PHP version 4. Oh my God, PHP version 4 is very vulnerable. PHP 4 is very vulnerable, and they are using very old version, right? It is very much vulnerable, and it is having so many well-known vulnerabilities. Hackers can immediately hack it, right? So this is also giving the database name. It is very sensitive. Your database name, your table name, it is giving. It is very important information. And which website, which organization has kept this backup file? Let us check it. This is very reputed website, isbe.iit Indore. This is IIT Indore who has kept this file, right? Yeah, so you can see this much prestigious organization has kept this file. This is also a backup file. It has opened. It is also giving the name of databases. Insert into the department table. There are department table, employee table, right? So these all tables are, table name has been displayed. So which website it is? It is intranet website of DAIICT. It is Dhirubhai Ambani College of Information Technology, Gandhinagar. It is also a very popular college. Then again, Avinity University page is not responding. Okay. So these many you can see it, and you may be surprised to see your website name may be listed here also. So they have here another file. It has been downloaded into my system. It is a huge file and it is not responding. Let me close it. So these are very crucial information about the website. The website administrator are keeping in the backup file, and hackers are taking advantage of this, right? So I hope it is clear to all of you what is this sensitive data exposure. Now move forward. Next is malicious file upload. So next vulnerability is malicious file upload. So it will allow attackers to upload malicious file from local or remote system and execute them to get the remote control over the web server. It is very dangerous. If you may have seen many websites are giving facility to upload files on their website. You may also have seen that many websites will be asking you to upload your photo, to upload your signatures and all, right? Yes, participant, am I right? Many times you may also have uploaded you have your photo or your signatures on many websites. So if your website is also asking this type of information from the user to upload, your file window or your upload file application if it is vulnerable, it may accept any executable or dangerous file from the users, right? So that is very, very dangerous. If a hacker will upload, instead of uploading the photo and signature, if the hacker will be able to upload a executable file or a malware file or a web shell file, then you will be very, very in danger, right? Because after uploading this file, hacker may get a complete access to your server, right? This is called remote access of your server, and this file may be acting as rat. Rat is remote access tool. After getting this remote access, they will take your system, they will do takeover of your system, they can delete your file from the server, they can make your system as a zombie or bot system, and similarly they can launch DOS or DDoS attack, right? So these are being, this type of hacking being done nowadays, right? For many hackers, which are the hackers which are involved in launching the DDoS attack, what they used to do, they have to create the bots. And how to make these bots? Very simple. You have to upload this malicious file, the web shell. Let me show you how to take over the system, how to make the system. So it is very simple and very, very dangerous, right? Suppose this is a website which is asking for a file to upload, right? It is asking for some file to upload from the users. Suppose this website is asking for a signed application form. The teachers who want to attend any training at NITTTR, they have to upload their sponsorship letter. So this dummy website is asking for such information, and here is the browse window. Here the file has to be uploaded. Suppose I am a legitimate user, so definitely I will upload original file or my PDF file, and you can see it is telling me only PDF and JPG file is allowed, with maximum file is 500 KB. So suppose I will be uploading a PDF file, so it should accept properly. It should accept. Yes, it has been accepted, right? It has been uploaded successfully. But if this upload facility is not properly implemented, no security features has been implemented, then it may accept some executable file. It may accept some executable file. And let me try it. Suppose I am writing here, suppose I am a hacker and I'm going to upload a web shell. This is a PHP script. You can see it is neither a PDF file nor a JPG file. It is a PHP script. It is a web shell. It is a malware, right? Which I am going to upload. It is just a malware. So when I will be uploading, this website should prevent that. This website should prevent that. It should not accept any executable file. But if the security features are not properly implemented, it may accept, right? So it has been uploaded. It means this website was vulnerable and it has accepted an executable file from the hacker. As a result of that, now the web shell, the malware has been uploaded into the server, and now as a hacker, I can take over this server. So are you interested to see how to get that remote access? Dear organizer, I am unable to work along with the session. Please share YouTube link. So how it is possible, ma'am? Okay, you want to attend after this session. Okay, no issue. So I'm just asking, I have just uploaded a malware file. So are you interested to see how to take over, how the hacker will access this server? Yes, participant. Okay. So let us see here. Let us see how attackers will be taking over the system. So now this web shell has been uploaded, and now I am going to access this web shell from my attacker side. So now I'm going to act as a hacker. Recently I have uploaded a malware. Now I'm going to access that web cell, right? I'm going to access that web cell here. When I will access this web cell on the server, on the web server, it will be coming here. I will have to enter the password and I will submit here. As soon as I will submit, it will display all the server drives and server folders in front of me. Now you can see by sitting remotely, I am accessing this web server. In my case, what is this web server? This web server is nothing but my laptop only. But I am accessing my laptop through this web browser. This is called RAT, Remote Access Tool, right? So now I am able to access my own laptop as a hacker. I am able to access my laptop, and it is showing that it is belonging to Amrendra. It is having the username window. It is having the Windows 8.1 professional operating system. It is all information it is giving. It is also giving that PHP version which is being used is 7.4.18. Then it is also telling me the space of hard drive is 208 GB, and out of that only 13 GB is free, and all the drives C, D, E and G drives are displayed here to the hacker. Let me open in the chat in the my computer. You can see these are the drives of my laptop, C, D, E and G, the physical drives, and the same drives names are available to the hackers also. So hacker is able to enter into any drive, right? Any drive he can enter, right? So suppose this is my D drive. Suppose here I am creating a file, demo. I've created demo file. So the same file will be visible to the hacker also. So you can see hacker is able to see the file inside this D drive. He has to click on D drive and this file will be displayed. So what he has to do, by sitting remotely, hacker can delete your file. Suppose I have taken over the system server of Graphic Era University website. I have taken over, so I can delete the website completely from from their server. I have to just select the file here. Suppose I want to delete this file, I will select here and I will check. I will select the option course of action which I want to perform. Delete option I want to perform. I will delete this file, and this file will be deleted, physically deleted from the server. Let us go to the physical drive. You can see the file has been disappeared, right? Yani, administrator will not able to know who has deleted my file, right? Because hacker has taken the website remotely and it has deleted the file from the server, right? So this is the way of working with the remote access tool or malicious file upload. Even hacker can have access to your C drive, and you all must be knowing this C drive is very essential. It is having very crucial file. Yes, am I right or not? So you can see it is having the C drive is having a folder called Windows, and this Windows folder may be having a folder called System32, and you all must be knowing what this System32 folder is containing. It is containing all the DLL file, all the DLL file it is containing. If I will delete a particular DLL file, suppose I will delete this boot.dll file or bootstat, what will happen to this machine? Yes, participant, if hacker had taken over your system and he has deleted this boot.dll file, boot.dll, what will happen to your server? Can anyone tell me? Yes, Gagandeep ji, Bilas ji. What will happen if I will take over your web server and I will delete this boot setup file or boot DLL file? What will happen? Yes, anyone? What will be the impact of deleting this boot file? Yes, anyone? So once the hacker will delete this boot file, your system will not be able to reboot, right? Your system will not be able to run. So it will be very dangerous for your system, for your web server. This type of attack is very dangerous, right? So let us move ahead. So next vulnerability or the next attack which are available in your websites are security misconfiguration. Security misconfiguration is, it is also very simple and very dangerous. Very simple to perform and very dangerous impact it is having, right? So many time this security misconfiguration is being it's been done by the developers only or the administrator only when they are in pressure or they are in hurry. They may miss some security configuration in the server and they will launch the website without taking care of this security features properly. In that case, this type of problem may arise. So what this problem is? This problem is basically directory listening or directory traversal, right? What this directory traversal or directory listening is? It is the vulnerability in which the restricted directories, the folder or restricted directories of the server is visible, it directly being accessible by the hacker, right? It is directly being accessible, right? So it is very dangerous. Let us have a look, have a demo of this. So suppose this is a website, right? And it is having a login ID and password. So using this login ID password, the administrator is able to see the feedback given by the different visitors of this website. So this file, this view feedback file, is a restricted page. It is not available for public, right? Only administrator can see this file, right? Only administrator can see this file. It should not be available for other people, right? So if anyone else want to see this feedback, what he has to do? If the person is hacker and if he want to see this restricted page, what he can do? He can brute force the password, or he can do SQL injection, which I have demonstrated yesterday, or alternative way, which is very simple. He can exploit this vulnerability called directory listening. So he can exploit this vulnerability called directory listening. It is very simple. What he will do? It will just go to the address bar. It will delete he will delete this file name login.php. Once he will delete this file login.php, he will hit enter button. As a result of that, the entire directory is visible. So if it is visible, it means it is a vulnerability, it is a weaknesses in your web server, in your website. And even nowadays, more than 20 to 30% websites are suffering from this type of vulnerability. It is very dangerous, right? And if your directory is publicly visible, internal directory, so people, the hacker can directly access your file. This feedback dot PHP file is directly visible. You can see here. If I will be logged out, if I am logged out, I am not knowing the password. I am a hacker. I am not knowing the password of this login ID. What I will do, I will do, I will just go to the address bar. I will delete this and I will enter into the restricted directories. Right here, I can see this feedback.php and I will see all the restricted pages. Right. So not only feedback.php, I will have the access of many files. Many files I will have access, right? All the files available in this directory, I will have access, right? So now you can have an idea that how it is dangerous and how your website is insecure, right? So this need to be cured, this need to be secured, your website need to be secured. You have to implement all these security arrangement to avoid this type of vulnerabilities. Next is broken access control. So till now, any doubt? Yes, participant? Till now, any doubt? We are moving ahead. So till now, whatever I have explained, if you have any doubt, you can ask here. Yes, participant, any doubt so far? So I was expecting the proper response like yesterday, but today I'm not getting many response from the participant. Yes, participant. Any doubt so far?
No, sir. No, sir. Please, due to some technical issues, can you share the YouTube that video with us, sir?
Which video, sir? Which video you are
This
talking about,
video,
sir?
today's video, sir.
Yeah, video. It is being recorded by the organizer,
Okay,
and
sir.
they will definitely share this session videos with you, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. We can
But
share it till tomorrow
but it is
morning.
always recommended, and it will be very good if you will be practicing it
Yeah, yeah.
parallelly with me. And anyway,
Okay,
you
sir.
can watch this YouTube video also, because just now after explaining this vulnerability, I will be switching to the hands-on, right? So this broken access control is another vulnerability. Please mute your mic, sir. So broken access control is another vulnerability which is available, and it is also very easy to perform and very high risk vulnerability, right? What this broken access control vulnerability is, it is basically providing an access to the access of restricted pages to the attacker due to improper authentication. What is this improper authentication is? You must have heard about session, right? What this session is, if you are logged into a website, a session may be maintained by the website. When you will click on logout button, your session will be destroyed, right? So if you are visiting any secure website like internet banking or reservation, for train or flight reservation, so all these websites are maintaining session for each and every user who are logged into their website, right? And it is very essential for the safety purpose, right? So when you click on login button by providing correct credentials, your session will be activated, and when you click on logout button, your session will be destroyed, right? So that no one else, once you will leave the system, no one else will be able to see your profile or your bank account detail, right? So this is called proper implementation of authentication, right? But many cases it is improper. So what is this improper authentication? Means suppose you are browsing your internet banking website on any public PC, like you are in cyber cafe, or you are in a college laboratory, right? If you are browsing this secured website on any public PC, so suppose you have just browsed your internet banking account. Suppose you have provided the login ID and password. You have browsed, and when after doing your transaction, you have logged out. Suppose I'm clicking here log out. So I'm logging out from my account. I'm logging out on my account, and I went away. After logging out my account, I went away from that system. I went to some other place, and after I leave the system, a hacker is coming to that system. Suppose your student or any another visitor is coming to that system, and he found that this page. So he may guess that you have definitely you have visited the your account before him, and he may click on the back button. So if hacker will click back button, it should not show your profile. This back button in your browser is supposed to display the back page, the previous page in the same window. But when you are when you are browsing any secured website, this function should not be allowed. So suppose I have just logged out from the system and I went away. A hacker is coming and he just clicking on this back button. After clicking this back button, this page is again being shown to me, because this page was not secured. The authentication process was not properly implemented. As a result of that, it is showing me this restricted page or the authenticated page without entering any user ID and password by just clicking on the back button, right? This is called, this problem is again this is a problem, and it may be had the website are having this type of problem, right? So this is called broken access control. If your logout is not properly implemented, your session is not properly implemented. So for proper implementation, what you have to do, you have to delete your session, you have to destroy your session, right, before leaving to the system.
Hamdin sir, you are mute.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. So so this was called improper authentication of your session, right? So I hope it is clear to all of you. So if your session is properly implemented, when you are clicking on logout button, your session should be destroyed and no one should visit your page by clicking on the back button. So this is called broken access control. Next is using component with known vulnerability. This is again a very high risk, treated as very high risk problem. It is not a vulnerability, but it is lack of awareness, right? So many times it has been seen that developer of a website, they are using very old version of codes or very old version of the software, right? So these softwares which they are using are also called as component, also named as component. So if you are using a very older version of any software or any software component, you are putting your website on risk, right? Because this older version of software may be containing some vulnerability, and these vulnerability are well known to the hacker. So yesterday I have already told you, vulnerability is not a problem. Having a vulnerability is not a problem, but knowing this vulnerability, letting the hackers know about this vulnerability is very, very dangerous. So suppose your web server is having 5 vulnerability, but no one is knowing about this vulnerability. So your website is safe. As soon as hackers are knowing that you are having this many vulnerability, they will definitely target your system, right? So using a old version of software is just inviting the problem for your website. So if you are using the older version of PHP, if you are still using the PHP version 4, nowadays it is version 8, right? If you are using PHP version 4, so all the hackers across the world, they are very known to that this problem, that PHP version 4 is having this many vulnerability. And if they came to know that if you are still using PHP version 4 or Windows XP or Windows 7 in your server, definitely these all the versions are having huge list of vulnerability, and definitely they will not going to leave your system, right? They will definitely make your system as a target, right? So it is always recommended to use the latest version of software. Do not use any older version of software component which is having the known vulnerability, right? They can take over your system, they can make your system as a zombie system or bot system, they can launch they can misuse your system, right? They can delete your file also. So it is always recommended. That is why you may have seen that in your mobile phone also, the Android app, if you are using, all the app developer companies are continuously prompting you to download the latest version, updated version, update your software. Why they are giving this type of message? Because they may be giving you a suggestion to update your software, because the older version may be having some vulnerability. Because the developer team are also working parallelly to the hackers. Hackers have intention to identify more and more new vulnerabilities, and developer has the responsibility to cope up with this vulnerability. So every time the developer company will be pushing some updates and asking their user to update their software, to update their mobile application, because the older version may be having some vulnerability, right? So this is the reason which is due to which you have to also be very careful. You have to always be using this latest version of the software, right? The next vulnerability which is listed is insufficient login and monitoring. So insufficient login and monitoring is also a type of awareness which this website developer or website administrator should have. What they have to do, they have to regularly monitor your website, right? So many times it has been seen that the hackers has taken taken over your system long back. They have created a backdoor, and they have got the persistent access in your system. After that, even you have taken all the preventive, all the security arrangements, even after making all these arrangements, your website will not be protected, because the hackers may have left a backdoor in your system, right? So they may be doing some improper activities using your system in odd hours, right? So I can share a case with you. Long back, when I have joined the NITRRR, our website was developed by some third-party developer company, and the MC was over. Annual maintenance contract with that company was over. So to again ask the money from us, what this cheap developer has done, they have created a backdoor in our system, and they started putting some unwanted link on our server, right? So on our website. So when we have tracked down that reason why this type of unwanted links are coming on our website, so we found that the developer has only left some backdoor in my system. And how we have tracked this? We have monitored the traffic. So proper monitoring and creating the logs of your website is very essential. So when we have monitored our website traffic, we observed that in daytime our website was having only 2,000 visitors, but in midnight the number of visitors suddenly raising, right? And it is reaching to the 1 lakh number of hits in midnight, around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. So it was very alarming for us. So when we have tracked down that who is accessing in midnight, so we found that he has created a bot in our system, and he was misusing our system, right? So we have immediately stopped using his services. We have also taken some legal steps, right? And we have developed new website from scratch, right? So never ever hire any cheap developer, right? You may found developers in market who may develop your website in just 5,000 or 10,000 rupees, right? But these developers are not so much skilled of secure coding. Secure coding is basically a technique. If you are using this secure coding in your website, these all SQL injection, cross-site scripting, sensitive data exposure, these all problems will not come to your website. But these secure coder are very rare, right? So you have to identify good developer who are knowing the secure coding, right? You never ever should hire this cheap developer. So they will be using this type of cut copy paste job. They will be taking the already available codes on GitHub. They will be putting this type of code, and that code may be containing some backdoor. If you are using some already developed code from GitHub, developed by some third party or third persons, they may be putting some backdoor in that code, right? And using that, your website may be compromised, right? So you should always maintain the logs. You should also maintain the traffic of your, you should do monitoring of traffic of your website, right? So these type of things are always recommended. I hope it is clear. So the next, so till now what we have discussed, so we have discussed these all vulnerabilities. SQL injection, cross-site scripting, sensitive data exposure, malicious file upload, security misconfiguration, broken access control, using the component with known vulnerability, insufficient login monitoring. All these vulnerability we have covered. So now we are here at OS top 10. So it is, let me tell you what is this OS. OSP is a open web application security project. It is a it is non-profit community, non-profit organization or community, you can say, and it is spread over all over the world, right? In India also, almost all the metro cities having their wings, their chapters, right? So this OS community is the community of researchers who are doing the research in web application security. It is very big organization, very reputed organization, and this OS community used to have meetings regularly every month or every 2 to 3 after interval of 2 to 3 weeks, and they are meeting, they are online, they are discussing different vulnerability which are coming over the internet for the website or web application. They are discussing their solution, their challenges, right? And they will be suggesting a very strong document called OS Top 10. This OS Top 10 is having the list of top 10 vulnerabilities. So the last time it was done in 2017, I think new list has also come this year only, and this list is containing only top 10 vulnerability, and all these vulnerability which I have covered till now my session, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, all this vulnerability is listed in the OS top 10 list, right? OS top 10 list. And not only they will be giving, not only they will give you the list of vulnerability, but they will also be giving some recommendation that how to patch this vulnerability, how to cope up this vulnerability, right? So this OS community is doing very noble job. So I am also the part of India chapter, senior member. So this is very good community, right? OS top 10. Now come to the section where we will discuss some solution to the website security, right? So till now we have seen only problems, the vulnerability and how hackers are exploiting this vulnerability. Now here we are going to discuss some way to avoid this type of hacking. So the first thing you should know that if you are a website owner and if you are thinking that you have implemented firewall, you have encrypted your data, you have implemented your intrusion detection system or intrusion prevention system, privacy policy you are having, even after taking all these safety arrangement, your website is not safe, it is not secured from this type of attack, right? These all are the misnomers or myths the website owners are having, right? So now here you can have a look. If you have kept your web server behind the firewall and you have used the 2 level of firewall to protect your database, even after using this firewall, your website will not be prevented from this type of attack. Can anybody tell me why and why it cannot prevent? Because all this type of hacking payloads or hacking injection requests are coming through the HTTP, that is your HTTP protocol or HTTPS, right? So these two ports which are responsible for HTTP and HTTPS is port 80 and 443. So these two ports are very responsible to display, to run your website in the client web browser, right? So if in firewall, if you block these two ports, definitely no attacker will able to reach to your server, or they will not be able to do any injection or any attack on your system. But eventually what will done, if you block the two port 80 and 443 in your firewall, as a result of that, eventually your website will stop running for the public, right? And no prospective client or your customer, your client will be able to see, or they will be able to browse the website. Your website will not be able to browse. Only on local host you can access your website. So will it solve your purpose? If you block these two port 80 and 443 to avoid these attacks, will it solve your purpose? Yes, participant. Will it solve your purpose? If you block this port 80 and 443, definitely attacker will not be able to perform any attack, and eventually the legitimate user, your customer, will not able to visit or not able to browse your website, which will not serve your purpose, right? If only you are able to see your website, definitely it is not going to solve your purpose, right? So you cannot block the 2 port 80 and 443 in your firewall, and as a result of that, therefore you will not be able to stop this type of attack coming to your website. So what is the final solution? The final solution is to conduct the security audit for your website, right? So yesterday the expert was discussing about this. Definitely he has discussed about this web application security audit. So here I am going to just explain in my context what is this website application security audit. So basically, audit is for IT, all the IT applications. IT audit means you can conduct the security audit for your IT application, your IT infrastructure also, right? But I am talking about only website application, web application. Or you can also conduct the audit for your mobile application also. Whatever the application which is having the internet exposure or having the client server architecture, you can conduct the security audit. Like in your financial audit, the auditors will try to identify the fraud or scam done by the financial frauds or your in any system. Similarly, in security audit, the auditor will identify the bugs or vulnerability in your system which may leads to the hacking to your server, right? It is basically a assessment process where auditor will identify different weaknesses and security risks associated with your web application. So it will involve some certain process like planning, information gathering, vulnerability scanning, penetration testing, reporting vulnerability, and patching the vulnerability and certification, right? So if you are also a owner of a website, you must be having your website. If you are a teacher, or if you are a faculty, or if you are a director or principal of any college, you must be having your website, right? So how to conduct security audit for your website, right? So firstly, you have to identify the auditors, right? So Government of India has impaneled some auditors. You can search the impaneled auditor. CERT-in, Computer Emergency Response Team. CERT-in is a government organization in India. CERT is overall is available all over the world. CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team. It is available in all the countries, but in India it is known as CERT-in. SERT, CERT-in is Computer Emergency Response Team for India, right? So CERT-in is responsible for all different type of cyber crime incident and impanelment of auditors. So here I'm going to browse this list of auditors, right? So when you open this list, you will find the list of impaneled or security auditor. Here is the list, and you may find around 50 to 55 auditors are there. Yeah, here is 45. This list is being refreshed every year. So you have to select at least 9 to 10 auditors from this list. Why 9 to 10 auditors? Because you have to also check for the financial sides, right? Financial side, you cannot give whatever the money they will be asking. So you have to make this process competitive, right? Competitive, you have to make it competitive. So what you can choose at least 9 to 10 auditors which are located nearby to your city, so that they will be accessible in case of any incident. So when you select at least 9 to 10 security auditors, you can send an expression of interest to submit their proposal, right? So while submitting the proposal, these auditors will ask some detail. So when you send an expression of interest request invitation to these auditors, they will send you a scoping performa, and this scoping performa will have some field. You have to provide some data. Based on this data, they will give the financial proposal, or they will give a work estimate. So let me share with you if I am having any scoping performa. Yeah, here is a sample scoping performa. I am showing you this type of a scoping performa. This company, these all company, the 9 or 10 selected auditors, will give you. In this performa, you have to provide some certain information like web address, website address, the operating system detail, which operating system you are using, application name, which application server you are using, the version of application, which PHP version of which scripting version you are using, which database version you are using, how many roles are there, number of pages you have to give, number of input forms you have to give, number of input fields. Input forms means where you are collecting the data from the user, like your login form, your registration form, your sign up form, right? Your faculty profile, updating profile. Number of input field means how many text boxes, how many upload facility, how many drop down is there. So these details you have to provide to the auditor. If you are using any web services, then you have to also provide the list of web services if you are using, right? After providing all these details to the auditors, they will make a financial proposal for you. They will make a work estimate for you, and they will revert back to you, right, along with the technical as well as financial aspects. So out of these 9 to 10 auditors, you can finalize the list at the lowest quoting form. Lowest quoting form means the auditors who has quoted lowest money. So as per my past experience, I have connected many security audit for many government websites I have audited. So I am not auditing. I was the part of that team. So as per my past experience, for a simple institutional website, they will be charging around 1 to 1.5 lakh or 2 lakh rupees, right, auditors. So now you can estimate, you are developing your website for 10,000 and you are paying 1 lakh rupees for security audit. So it is not justifiable. So always it is recommended for the website owners, you have to always hire a secure a developer who know secure coding, who know how to patch this vulnerability, right? So it is always not justifiable to hire a developer for 10,000 and paying a money of 1 lakh rupees to just security audit, right? So once your auditor is finalized, the lowest quoting auditors, you have to select the lowest quoting, the auditor who is quoting the lowest money you have to hire. Once this phase is completed, your planning will be planning phase will almost done. In the last, once the auditor will be finalized, at last you have to sign an agreement with that auditor. In that agreement, you have to tell the auditors, you have to allow the auditors officially to hack your website, because auditor will do all the manual hacking of your website to identify the risks or to identify the vulnerability. They may also use some the predefined tools, auditing tool, but they will also use some manual tricks. So all the techniques which we have learned so far, these are all the tricks for these all are the techniques which are being used by the auditors, manual techniques, right? So you have to officially allow the auditors to do these all types of hacking. Without performing this type of hacking attack, auditor will not be able to know whether what the type of risk associated with your website. But yes, auditors has to also make you sure that whatever the attacks they are performing just for testing purpose, and it may not leads to your website down. It may not lead to put your website down for your customer or client, right? So you may allow these auditors to play with your website in midnight, in odd hours, right? So these things you have to mention in the agreement, that auditors are only allowed to do their testing in midnight or during the odd hours, because in daytime our clients or our customers may be visiting, because during this assessment process your website may be down, right? So these all things will be signed in the agreement, because without signing, if the auditor will start auditing as per the Information Technology Act, IT Act rule, he will be convicted, he may be punished. So definitely without having this agreement, they will not assess your website, right? After completing this planning phase, the information gathering phase will start, and in information gathering phase, they will collect your server information. The server information they will collect from your system, like what version of server you are using, like if you are using Linux, or which distribution you are using, how many ports are open in your network, right? So these all information they will collect. After that, they will start discovering the vulnerability, and in vulnerability disclosure, they will use two type of processes. One is automated process that will be done by vulnerability scanners. there are many vulnerability scanners which are available in the market, right? Like Equinetics is very, very popular. IBM Security Scan, Bobsuit, NetSparker, it is of Microsoft product, right? So these all vulnerability scanners are automated software who will help the auditors to identify the bugs, to identify the vulnerability available in your system. After scanning these vulnerabilities, automatically they will start manual testing, because many high risk or hidden vulnerability may not be detected by these automated scanners. So they have to perform penetration testing, right? So penetration testing is a manual process where auditors will be using their skills, their knowledge to test your website. And whatever the techniques which we have learned so far, these all are the auditing techniques, right? So these combinedly, these two techniques, the automated scanning and penetration testing, are known as VAPT. VAPT means vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So combinedly, it is well known as VAPT. So vulnerability assessment is the automated process, and penetration testing is the manual testing. So once the testing will be done, they will identify all the vulnerability, and these all findings will be listed in a document which is called audit report, right? So this audit report will be containing all the findings, all the vulnerabilities, right? They will make different type of report for you. The auditors team will make different type of report, like executive summary report is just for executive bodies like director, HOD, principal, managing director, chairman. So this is 1 or 2 page report which is just give a snapshot of your website, how many vulnerabilities are there. Then there is another report like developer report, which is having a comprehensive report. It is a report having 200 to 300 pages. It is for developers, right? They will also give some recommendation to the developers how to patch this vulnerability. So let us let me show you if I am having any this type of reports. Yeah, audit report I am having. So this executive summary report is, you can see here, I have conducted a security audit for a company. So here it is giving a snapshot that this website has been tested, this website test website, and after scanning we have found total 151 finding. Out of that 151 findings, 75 findings were high risk, 48 is medium risk, and 9 was low risk. It is also giving the list of vulnerability, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, directory traversal, directory listening, weak password. So this is just 1 page report. It is for executive body. Then we can have developer report. You can see here the developer report is very comprehensive, and it is, you can see here, it is having 105 pages, right? The number of pages is listed here. 105 pages is there, and it is not only having the snapshot of the attacks, snapshot of the vulnerability, but it is having also recommendation. You can see vulnerability along with the recommendation they will be giving. They are giving, the auditors will be giving the exact path of, or the file path where this vulnerability are existing, right? So this is for developers, so that they can patch this vulnerability. And one thing you should be very, very clear that these auditors are charging money to just tell you the vulnerability. They are not going to patch your vulnerability, right? So these auditors are just like a doctor which will be charging money for letting you know that you are infected with this virus, or you are getting fever due to this virus, but they are not going to write medication for you. So patching this vulnerability is your job, the website owner job. So that your developer job, so you must have hired a developer. So your developer should know the techniques to patch this vulnerability. Otherwise, there will be no benefit of having to conducting the security audit, because if your developer is not knowing how to patch this vulnerability, there is no benefit of conducting the security audit for your company, right, or your website. So your developer should be skilled enough, right? Your developer should be skilled enough, right? So patching the vulnerability is your job. It is not the job of your auditors. And once you will patch this vulnerability, you have to again resubmit this website to the auditors for reassessment. And it is not a one round job. It may take multiple round it may takes, right? So in the second round, they will also try to identify some vulnerability, and if they will be successful to identify any vulnerability, definitely they will point it out. If all the vulnerability will be patched and developer team will be able to convince the auditor team that they have patched all this vulnerability, after satisfying the auditor team will issue a seal, security seal to your company. This type of seals are generally being shown on websites. So this seals means your website is now fully safe, audited, and no one can hack your website. Now if even after connecting the security audit, if your website got hacked, now who will be responsible? The auditor will be responsible. So even after connecting the security audit, company website got hacked and company has incurred a loss of 1 crore or 2 crore rupees, right, due to this hacking. This all compensation should be borne by the auditor, right? So becoming an auditor is not a very job. So if you are doing audit, you have to take the responsibility, right? So even after audit, if your website got hacked, you can lodge a case against the auditor, right? So becoming an auditor is not a very easy job. So this is all from my side. So if you have any doubt so far related to this session, so you can ask. So auditor team is also very smart. What they will be doing, they will be issuing this security seal as a warranty, you can say warranty seal or warranty card, right? So what they will do, they will calculate a hash. You must be knowing what is hash. So once auditing will be done, they will calculate a hash for complete website, and they will share this hash code on public platform like through email with the party, both the parties. That hash means you cannot modify the source code of the website without permission from the auditor. So this auditor seal is valid for 1 year. Every year you have to renew it, right? So during this 1 year, if you want to do any changes in your website, you have to take the prior permission from the auditor. What you have to do, you have to develop the additional code, you have to submit it to the auditors for additional checkup. You have to ask the auditor that, Mr. Auditor, please check for this additional sort of code which I want to add to my website, and if you allow, then only I will add this to my website. So auditor will check for the new code, new additional code which you want to add, and after that they will recommend you to whether you should add it or not. If they will be satisfied, they will give you green signal, and then only you can add it. If you add the source code without prior permission from the auditor and your website got hacked, in that case your security warranty seal will not work, and auditor will not take responsibility for that, right? So this is all about the security audit. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. So now we have come to the last of the session. So we will perform all the hands-on in the next session because it is not very easy to perform. Otherwise, if you allow another 10 minutes, we can do, or if you have any query, you can ask. So I request the organizing team to ask the participant if they have any doubt, they can ask here.
Participants, if you have asked, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
So those who have not installed this DBWA, please refer to my video, which I have shared already, how to install the DBWA, because in next class we will be performing many attacks using all the attacks now we are knowing from meaning point of view. We are knowing all the attacks, and now I have also demonstrated. Now it is your turn to practice it, and we will be practicing in the next session. We will be practicing all these attacks. So you should be ready with the DBWA. And if you are getting any problem, please refer to my video recording of this session, and you will be able to install DBWA. Otherwise, I have also shared this link for this document, which I have also shared yesterday also. Let me share it again here. You can also open this document. I have listed step by step installation guide of DBWA here. Thank you, Gagandeep ji. Thank you, Pareshwar ji. So any participant, if you have doubt, I can take your doubt. Otherwise, we can wind up the session.
So I think, sir, no one participant do not have any doubt. Okay, participants, if you have any doubt, please ask now. Okay. So thank you, sir, for your
Okay, sir.
timing and for your time and the wonderful session. I think participants have enjoyed